I'll just show you. I'll show you just the one. I think you have these notes, and they do have my slides on them. So this is a example that runs on a mobile device, and the idea really is it's based on the metaphor that the device is giving you a window on an enhanced world. So you're looking through the device as a camera, so it shows you the world around you. But then what it does is it overlays. You can see that, okay? Overlays additional information on the real world view. So let's wait for this to
I've just turned the sound right down because it's not. It's
just coming out here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can quickly make that a full screen. So, what the person's doing here is as they pan around this landscape, some of this social content is being embedded on top of the view that you're seeing. So augmented reality is about a much more seamless integration of this location information with the real world. And I like the metaphor of using the device, I think this is an Android device, as a window, because it feels quite familiar. Often user interfaces can be very contrived, and you think, well, how does that work? But this seems quite natural. Now, imagine your social information displayed on an interface like this. As you walk around Leicester, you might get an indication that there's some information at this location. You pick up your phone and you can see things on top of the real world presented through the mobile device. So in this case, they're zooming in on a map of, or a location of Austria.
So it sounds for
I think that's quite interesting. I'm not saying this is how the technology in the future is going to work, but I think it's an interesting way of presenting it. Now, if I just go to my final slide, and I've got a few more examples of augmented reality on the notes here. I think this is where we have to consider the opportunities and the threats. Creatively, I'm interested in this because it can potentially offer new art forms I can get involved in. I do see the potential for participation. The idea of creating social maps could encourage a lot of people to get involved and start thinking about their environment. There are social implications. There are the privacy concerns which can't be ignored. People are very concerned about privacy. But then on the other hand, I like the idea that it democratises public spaces. At the moment, if I want to stick a sign outside of Phoenix Square, I have to get a lot of permission from a lot of different people. Whereas with a technology like this, I can just do it. I can put my information on the real world. Of course, lots of social implications of that. The commercial opportunities, clearly location-based services. If you can imagine a service that can be delivered via a location-based device, then the technology is now becoming available to let that happen. Service development, which I guess is where Cuttlefish comes in. I want us to be delivering or developing these technologies. And then of course there's the advertising side of it, which the reality is that advertising is pushing a lot of this technology. If you've seen Minority Report, the world where you walk down the street and the adverts talk to you and so on, was very well researched because that was based on real research that people were talking about. Could be a nightmare though. Imagine walking down the street and every advert trying to draw you in. How do you navigate a world like that? These are, I think, very important questions. Personally though, I think the best way of engaging with it is to actually do it and explore it and try and understand it. So rather than seeing advertising and the fear of advertising and being bombarded with information as a major threat, I want to try and preempt, I want to understand that world before that world arrives.
I've just got, you know, this question, it's all very visual, isn't it? What about blind people?
Right.
I've just got a, you know,
yeah.
I'm actually going deaf, so I've
okay.
got a vested interest sort of thing.
I will include this one last, to answer that question, as a Q&A rather than a part of the presentation. One of the projects I'm involved in, which is a project, to me, one of the most exciting ones, is purely based around delivering sound information. Because I don't know if you've ever walked around town with a tour guide or something, or even an electronic tour guide. If you're walking around a physical space, you spend all your time looking at the visual material, when really you should be experiencing the world around you. So how can we provide information in a way which fits better with our visual senses and our desire to browse? If I go into a project here called Sound Mapper, the idea of the project is to do just that, to provide information, sound information that can be delivered to your mobile device. And so we have people here working on creating a sound map of Leicester. So the idea of the sound map is that it's purely auditory, although this person has put some video on one of these people. So in our Leicester map, we have assorted sounds located around the city and beyond. Lots of people are used to the idea of having their iPod in their pocket, listening to music and so on. What we want this to do is that you can be listening to your music, and if a sound or a particular location becomes available as you move towards the location, your music goes down and the sound comes up. So I could walk, in this case, to the canal over near the university, Northwood University, and as I approached the canal, an audio piece would kick in, telling me, in this case, about the environment and the history of the canal and so on. So as you walk around the environment, the information is delivered to you in quite a seamless way, really. You're not having to constantly look at your mobile device. The sound information is being presented to you. And I would agree, actually. I think sound delivery of content, certainly for people, obviously, who've got reasonable sense of hearing, is probably going to be just as important, if not more so, than visual information. Because you can do other things while you're listening to sound. You can be driving around and it can tell you on your left is the oldest church in Leicester or whatever. Or it can be telling you on your right is High Cross and they've got a 50% sale on widgets or something. So information can be delivered to you while you're doing other things. So you're right, don't just think about this as being a visual medium. It can be sound, it can be video, it could be other ways in which you might imagine distributing content. So I think I probably...
Thank you very much.